All right, guys, we're just going to go ahead and jump into this. This is an old Reddit post that I'm going to link to down below that comes from, by the time you see this, about a month and a half ago. Many of you may not have seen this, and if you didn't, you kind of missed out. It's actually a pretty good rant, and I think tells us some interesting stuff about Football Manager. It'd be good for discussion. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So here we go. I like the FM series because it's unique. It's the only game in this niche, but this game has no respect for us or our time. I kind of agree with that, and we'll go into some of the reasons why. There's some pretty interesting stuff that he says here. A lot of the game of Football Managers he's sort of explaining here kind of happens in the imagination, right? You kind of are trying to imagine yourself in a certain situation, in a certain position as the manager of a club, and you want to do everything that you possibly can to keep yourself within that mental state, right? You want to make it so you feel like you're actually coaching this random player, and it's even better if he's a new gen, right, than if he's an actual real life player. And you want to think about like his strengths and his weaknesses and all this other stuff, and what you can kind of poke at in the system that in theory could make a change. But as we say here, this stuff doesn't always work, right? So we say we're imagining playing our great League Cup attacker as a false nine. We imagine that works well and is some pep genius, while he would in fact score as many assists as in any other attacking role. He would even perform better both as a creator and a scorer as an advanced forward with the take more risks instruction. We might think it does work because it makes sense and it should, but the truth is it doesn't. There are literally millions of FM Arena simulated matches that point to the same exact conclusion every new game and every patch. And then it goes on here to talk about how most of the attributes are broken. I do agree with that, actually, and I agree that probably the most interesting and fun way to play the game is to turn the numerical attributes off. You know me, I do that also with the star ratings. The reason why it's more fun that way is because then you don't get so hung up on numbers, which is what everybody gets hung up on, especially over on the Football Manager forums and places like that. Other interesting stuff here as well, right? Training. We've talked about training before here, right? Good old Max at Evidence-Based Football Manager, I think, has proven conclusively that the training system in Football Manager does not work as intended at all. And a lot of what you're seeing is sort of damage control by Sports Interactive when they reply to this and say, oh, no, you have it wrong. This works better, that works better, so on and so forth. The best way to do training, honestly, is to get the thing that Max creates and use that and watch his videos and learn more about how it works, and stop spending all of your time making certain new individual training methods for whatever. It doesn't work. It doesn't work, and it's kind of a waste of time, right? Now, this is interesting, though. Most rules are completely dumb and are just a strictly inferior version of some other rule. When it comes to tactics, most of the instructions barely do anything, while a few of them do everything. For example, very high line and press have been broken for half a decade now, and it's pretty much the only thing that actually matters if you want to win. That's interesting. Boy, maybe I could have used that when my team kept losing. Formations are an afterthought. Just send your mentality to attack, use your high line, 6 or 7 players in attack role, and enjoy your 5-2 win. There is this elitist mentality here that some of us are better at the game than the people who just download a tactic. Well, that's just really ironic because in their own way, the people downloading tactics were right all along. Tinkering with support rules based on real-life football is indeed a waste of time. Of course, it's fun, but we are just role-playing and making our own fun. The game itself does nothing for you. That's interesting, and I think that that's actually true, right? There's a reason why the tactics that tend to do the best year in and year out. I know this is true going back to FM21 at least. It's probably been true for longer than that. All the tactics that work are attack tactics. If you go watch other content creators, if you go watch Kev, Lelujo, or you go watch anybody else, you will notice that they tend to have a lot of success when they are attacking. There are exceptions to the rule, but the exceptions to the rule require a lot of time and a lot of effort to try to get like a counterattack system to actually work, and usually it would have been faster for you just to do the attacking gegenpress with very high lines and go over and score all the goals and just skip all the stuff in the middle. More stuff here, right? Staff is useless. Yeah, this is correct. Staff is completely useless. It's mindless Excel busy work. That's actually true. You want to get staff that works with your team. You spend a bunch of time on it. In the end, the difference that it makes in terms of player development is so minuscule that it doesn't really matter, right? And it's probably a good thing because I think most people are bored to death and don't want to spend all of their time working with staff. It's the worst part about creating a new save, right? Here's what some of you are going to tell me. Don't use the broken stuff. Make your own fun. Play the game in a way that's fun for you, etc. Well, yeah, I kind of tried that. I could maybe roleplay a smaller side with a defensive tactic and fight to avoid relegation. This might be fun until I faced Liverpool United playing attacking gegenpress. This is a sports game. The goal is to win. Why would anyone purposely avoid using a good strategy in order to have fun, right? And it's not much fun. And that's kind of what we've seen here in this channel before as well, is it's that the game really does not become that much fun if you go and you get beaten every single time you go out, right? It's more fun if you have stand a chance at winning, right? So anyway, that's kind of, what this person is saying. It brings up a couple of questions. The biggest question, of course, is why is it that the mechanics of the game don't actually do what they claim, and why is it that it's actually kind of a waste of time? That's a deeper question, I think, for people who work for Sports Interactive. But the other question I think that's really important for us to ask ourselves is, what is it that we're doing with Football Manager? Are we really playing Football Manager in order to try to win, or are we actually playing this in order to come up with this sort of like imaginary role-playing scenario for ourselves, in which we fit into a certain role, we play with a team that we like, or we play in a country that we're interested in, or we go play from one place to the next and try to think about how we go from here to there. We go on and look at what housing would be like, or we look at what the map is like, or whatever, right? I mean, which one of it is actual Football Manager, right? That sounds like Football Manager to me. I've said this before and I'll say it again. The truth is that Football Manager really is a role-playing game, and Sports Interactive needs to treat it as a role-playing game, because the reason why we play this game is not because we want like statistical accuracy. It's not because we're all sports geeks. It's because it's a different kind of RPG. It's a game in which we can go play a certain role. We expect that we're going to have success in that role. It would be nice if some of the non-attacking tactics would also bring us success. Like if we could be a defensive team, if we could come up with something that would win matches, as ugly as possible, 1-0 after a whole bunch of nothing happening and the fans criticize us, but we end up in first place. It would be nice if this sort of thing would happen in game. As Football Manager stands today, even though they went and nerfed Gegenpress, even though they've worked their hardest to try to make it so that it's a little bit more equitable, it still is the case that the old strategies and the old tactics work perfectly well. I could go take an old, broken tactic from FM21, stick it probably in FM24 right now and play with it and watch it win a whole bunch of matches and be broken again, right? That's the problem that we have. Anyway, there you go. We'll leave it at that for now. I'll talk with you later. Bye.